Hey everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am going to do my top 10 board games of all time. I'm not doing my top 100 this year. So I did the top 100 for the first time at the end of 2020, and then I did it again last year, in fact, ending a year ago today, May 14th. Um, and it's too much to do it every year. I'm doing it every other year, but this year I'll do my top 10, which has in fact changed a little bit. There are two games that are new to the top 10. One of them is new to the top 100. I hadn't played it the last time I did this. Um, anyway, I'll tell you what they were the previous two times I did the list as well. So without further ado, I hope you enjoy. Number 10, it was number 3 in 2020. It was number 5 last year. It's number 10 now, and that is Scythe. It's still a great game. I still love it. It's still in my top 10. So don't give me crap about not liking it, Mark. I do. I just don't want to play it all the time. There are. I feel like I've discovered almost everything that this game has to offer, and I love it. But losing out on that sense of discovery for me definitely like drops the game a bit. Anyway, this is a game in which it's not a heavy combat game. It's a game in which you are trying to build up your engine, um, and you have like your own little player board, which is where you play most of the stuff. But then you're also trying to get territory on the map and do various things. The campaign expansion, Rise of Fenris, is amazing. So I will gladly play a campaign again, even though I've discovered pretty much all it has to discover. Also, very looking forward to Expeditions, which is kind of the sequel to this game set in the same universe that is coming out later this year. So anyway, that's number 10. Scythe. Number 9. Oh my gosh. So these games, several of these are so heavy because I have so many expansions in here, and that might be true of none more than Dominion. This box is filled with cards. I love deck building. This is the original deck builder. It's still one of my favorites, my second favorite deck builder. Um, this this is just pure deck building. I know some people, Bob, are not a huge fan of the games that are just pure deck building. They want other stuff to be going on, and I get that. But at the same time, I love the mechanic, and just kind of exploring that to the extent that you can is great. You're just trying to get better cards that give you victory points. That's it. Just build the best deck with the 10 random cards that are available to you, and I really love that. I do have a bunch of expansions now, so I've kind of made my own little insert here, which I will try to show you without destroying it. Got room for maybe one more small one, and then I'd be looking at having 2 boxes, which maybe I'll do because it's such a good game. Anyway, that was number 9, Dominion. Oh, I forgot to say, last year Dominion was number 10, so it's actually gone up by a slot. The year before, the year before, 29, basically the year before, it was number 7. So it's always hovering right around here, top 10, but not top 5. Number 8 was number 6 last year, and it was not on the list before that because I hadn't played it. This is my second and highest game by Jamie Stegmaier. This is Tapestry. Tapestry is my number 8. It's tracks, but not the way that you're used to them. It's a very hard game to explain because it's civilization themed, but you don't have all the trappings of a normal civilization game. You have a board that you're exploring a bit, yes, and you have your own player board, yes, but it's much more about where your markers are on the 4 different tracks, or 5 with the arts track that they added in the expansion. I still haven't played with the 3rd expansion, which came out this year, and I really want to play with it. And it adds like fantasy, so like you could be the merfolk, and you could discover levitation and stuff like that. And so yeah, really interested in that. Great game. And yeah, that's Tapestry number 8. Number 7. This is the one that's light, easy to lift. Number 7 is Keyforge. It was 7 last year. Well done, Keyforge, maintaining. It was 4 the year before. It might go up higher because Keyforge is coming back. So this game's been kind of out of production for a couple of years now. The company that was making it decided to stop. because they broke the algorithm. There's this whole controversy, like as to whether or not it was. Anyway, regardless, I don't need to get into all that. It's back. Keyforge is back. Maybe this month I might be getting, because I backed the Kickstarter, so I might be getting my decks from the 6th set. This box is from the 3rd set. My favorite set includes the Saurian guys and the Star Alliance guys. Those are two of my favorite factions. Logos is on here too. I really like Logos. Anyway, I should do more videos about Keyforge because it's great. This is a game of algorithmically generated decks. So it's kind of like playing Magic the Gathering from the same designer, Richard Garfield. But you open your deck and you don't know what's going to be in it. So you don't do any of that deck construction ahead of time. And it works so well, like shockingly well. Really great tactical decisions. It's often always about like tempo and board control. There are some combo decks and stuff like that. But anyway, if you want to play a game kind of like Magic the Gathering, but you don't want to get into all the stuff around Magic the Gathering, great option. Keyforge number 7, which is my favorite 2-player only game. Number 6 was number 4 last year. It was number 2 the year before, so it's probably going to be number 8 next year. I haven't played it since last year, but I still love it so much. This is A Game of Thrones, based on the book, not the show. A Game of Thrones is a game in which you are fighting over control of this map, and you're using hidden orders a la the game I haven't played. What's it called? Diplomacy. It's so good in that there is like negotiation, backstabbing, just fighting over the map. There's a real. I love the arc to this game, even though it has received some criticisms of not having an arc. But I think it very much the jockeying over position and the like breaking and making of alliances creates its own narrative arc within the game that I really like. It does need ideally 5 or 6 players. It can work with 4. I have the 2nd edition as well, and I want the Mother of Dragons expansion for that, which sounds really cool and too much. But yeah, I really got to get this to the table, especially since my board game, board game resolution for this year is to play all the games that I haven't played within the past few years. There goes Domino coughing on nothing. So anyway, if people want to play this, let me know. It probably takes 5 hours. I need 4 through 6 people, and it's not as complicated as you might think, but it is a real time commitment. Anyway, that's number 6, Game of Thrones. Number 5 is new to the top 10. It was in my top 100 of both previous years. It was 24 last year. It was 27 before. Both of these times, I think when I made the list, I hadn't played the physical copy, and now I have, and now I just love it. And that's Terra Mystica. They're coming out with a fan expansion for this of like fan-made factions, which is great. This is very much asymmetric factions, the game, with a decent amount of like complexity and depth. So you have all these different factions who approach the game in different ways, although they have a lot of similarities, but like enough differences. So you're like, ooh, I really want to do this with the halflings. I really want to do this with the Chaos Magicians. Love the Chaos Magicians. But yeah, Terra Mystica, there's so many different expansions and ways to play too. But even just base game, it's great. I love it. A lot of depth, and not as long as you might think it would take. That's, yeah, damning with faint praise. Anyway, number 5, Terra Mystica. Number 4 is the new arrival to this list that was not on the list previously at all because I hadn't played it, and it's not a surprise. It's Ark Nova. Everyone loves Ark Nova. This has shot up the Board Game Geek rankings. Fun fact, I'm ranking this number 4. I think it's number 4 in Board Game Geek ranking as well. Yeah, it is at the moment. That might change. It might get up to number 1. But anyway, Ark Nova is a game with a giant deck of cards that's mostly zoo animals, and you're building your own zoo. The way the orders work is very clean. Turns go quickly most of the time. It still takes a long time with 4. I prefer to play it with 2 or 3. Um, but yeah, just a fantastic game if you're okay with complexity that makes sense because of the theme. Um, can take a while, so warning. What's the box say? It says 90 to 150 minutes. And I've definitely gone over 2.5 hours before, especially with 4 people. I don't think I've ever played it in 2.5 hours. Anyway, that's number 4, Ark Nova. Number 3 was number 2 last year, and it was not on the list. So I 1, 2, 3 are the same as they were last year, just different order. Number 3 was number 2 last year, not on the list the year before, and this is Terraforming Mars, which has a lot of similarities to Ark Nova. You got a huge deck with tags on it, and you're basically trying to choose which cards make sense for your strategy. Um, Also, a bunch of expansions for this game. This one, I feel like the action selection thing isn't as interesting as Ark Nova, but the way that the divergent strategies develop is more interesting. I feel like you're doing very different things than the other players, whereas in Ark Nova, you're pretty much doing the same thing. Yeah, you can play this game with barely terraforming Mars at all, despite the name of the game. Which is one of my favorite strategies. Is just do like heavy science symbols and like we're really going to science. Not like me in real life at all. But anyway, yeah, recently played a 4-player game of this with all expansions, including Turmoil, which is a controversial expansion. It's a great game. I only want to play Turmoil occasionally, but the rest of them, yeah, toss them in. Great. Also, they announced a new expansion for this, Prelude 2, which is a great name for an expansion, despite what some people might think on Board Game Geek. Because Prelude is the best expansion possibly for any game ever, because it makes the game shorter and punchier and more enjoyable. Anyway, that's Terraforming Mars. Number 2 was number 1 last year, and it was number 1 the year before that. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. And that is A Feast for Odin. I still really love it. It's number 2, okay? Uwe Rosenberg is still my favorite designer for now. This game is the best worker placement game, with one exception. But this is pure worker placement, and then you're also like trying to use all of these polyomino pieces to build up your board and your expansion boards that you've gotten from exploring islands. Um, the theme is great. Your Vikings. It has like a little bit of randomness, which is nice. A lot of expansions, which are really great, in particular the Norwegians. There's a new expansion and standalone game coming out soon, the Danes. But yeah, it's heavy. There are so many decisions that you can make. There's about maybe 60 worker placement spots that you can put your workers on. Overwhelming to learn, but not that hard to remember how to play. Like once you know how to play, not that hard to get back into it. Um, Hard to get to the table because it's so long. Still love it. Number 2, Feast for Odin, which means, of course, number 1, which was number 3 last year, and not on the list before that because I hadn't played it. My favorite game of all time is now Dune Imperium, which so this is deck building and worker placement, and the two of them work so well together. You have to build your deck to get the cards that allow you to place your workers where you want to place them. There's also direct player conflict, but in a way that is not like incredibly destructive of the other player's positions. Which means that there's a lot of interactivity, both in the worker placement of blocking spaces, and also in the conflict each round, which is when you're having a combat with each other. What else to say about this? There's 2 expansions so far. There's bound to be more because the second Dune movie is coming out later this year. The expansions are really great. It's not as intimidating as it might look. This is certainly, I would say, probably the easiest of the games in my top 5. Anyway, Yeah, Dune Imperium on top for now. Probably will be for years. Feast of Odin was on top for years. Actually, Game of Thrones was once my number one. Um, and who knows, maybe we'll go back up that way again once I play it again this year. Um, but yeah, Dune Imperium. I'll have to do a top 10 like cards of Dune Imperium or like leaders and stuff like that because I love this game so much. It's hard to want to play other games right now. Like I'm still so obsessed with it, um, despite it not being like incredibly new. Like Arc Nova is pretty new. I just want to play Dune Imperium all the time. Anyway, hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think of the changes, and yeah, I hope you have a great rest of your day.